Hey, I know an actor who is also a journalist. No, he's a journalist who does some acting. I'm not sure. Well, Will Tizard is an Arizonian guy. Is that a thing? Arizonian? A guy from Arizona, who has been living in Prague, Czech Republic for over 25 years. He originally started off on stage at the Scottsdale, Arizona Center for the Performing Arts before heading to Los Angeles to work a stint as a local crime reporter. Today, he's a correspondent for Euronews. He's the Central European correspondent for Variety, the preeminent entertainment industry trade magazine. He's a contributor to National Geographic. He's a producer at Radio Free Europe, and they do very important work and have done for decades. Check it out. He's a videographer and even occasionally a character actor appearing in TV, film, and commercial roles shooting in Europe, like the Musketeers and 1864. And most importantly, at least to him, he's my friend. Today we talk to Will about a life of creativity, news, media, film, European culture, European characters, and yes, even acting. He has a great mind and he's very intellectual, which I appreciate, and I think you will too. Here he is, the Tiz. He hates it when I call him that. Will Tizard. Here we go.
Let's go.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Greetings and salutations.
That's right. Greetings and salutations.
All our friends and listeners out there.
Yes, all one of them.
There's maybe a few more now. Welcome to the Offstage Acting Podcast. We're so glad you made it.
We are. We really are.
What's up, Jay?
Hello, Hot Toddy.
Hey now. Yeah?
Oh, hey now what?
I got something for you.
Oh,
Since
gosh.
you said it.
Okay.
Justina got this for me.
Okay. You did it! No. Oh my God. Everyone, listeners, he has a hat. He just turned it around. It says Hot Toddy on
Got
it.
my hot toddy hat.
Wait, Todd, that's actually so good.
Do you just love it? Don't you just love it?
I love it. Justina
did it. I don't know. She came up with that thing.
Wow.
I guess the nickname's
Justina.
going to stick.
Hot. It's a good one. Oh my gosh. That's so
Overused,
good.
I think. But yeah, I mean, it could be worse.
Well, all nicknames are overused. That's kind of the point. It's a name.
That's true, Baby J.
No.
We got to get you a Baby J hat.
Baby J. Wop, wop. I'm
Right.
usually J Baby, but now Baby J.
You're J Baby?
J Baby.
How about Baby J Baby?
Baby J Baby. Yeah, I guess, you call me whatever you want, Hot Toddy.
Okay.
Oh, that's so good. Oh my gosh.
Should I
Yes.
keep it this way or can I turn it around?
You can turn around. You can
Okay.
turn around. You do look better with the backwards hat.
I do look better a little bit backwards. All right. Well, anyway, that was the fun part.
That was that. Oh, I'm
yeah, that was that.
reeling. That was so good.
Justina's going to
Okay,
love that
thank you.
reaction. So,
Yeah,
well,
she
she
does.
should. Yeah, she should. We actually got the hat for free because it was a little badly embroidered. Anyway, it's a long story. Stupid.
Okay.
But yeah, we're thrilled to have everyone here today, and we're thrilled about our guest, by the way.
Yeah.
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 this-
Very curious. I was informed. I got hinted of
Yeah.
our guest's occupation, and I'm very curious
Yes.
how this podcast will go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to go a few different ways because this is an old friend of mine. And when I mean old, like, woof.
Oh gosh.
Not that he's old, although he's
Uh-huh.
not young, but neither am I.
Okay.
But we've been friends I was trying to think about it, actually, and he might be able to tell us, but it's been at least 20 years.
That's a long time.
Maybe 25.
Wow.
No, not quite 25.
That is quite a solid amount of time.
Yeah, we've been friends for a long time, and he is primarily a journalist,
So
kind of
interesting.
first and foremost, but he's also a writer and stuff, but he does a lot of acting stuff, and we're going to talk about that. And
Huh.
he also writes for Variety, for like the
Oh.
Central and Eastern European, anything that's going on with film and film production in Central and Eastern Europe.
Huh.
He'll write for them and other publications as well, which we're going to get into.
Wow.
He does stuff like he goes to the Karlovy Vary Film Festival every year, which is kind of the big Eastern European film festival in Czech Republic.
The people you know.
Yeah, I got some cool friends. And his name's Will Tizard,
Will Tizard.
or I just call him
Will?
I call him the Tiz, or
Oh, the Tiz. That's a good one.
it's like Wizard because it's W Tizard, so it's like I call him Will Tizard, the Wizard. He hates that, but he gets it all the time. Anyway, well, yeah, his name's Will Tizard. He works for Radio Free Europe as well. A lot of great stuff with this guy, and kind of complex and stuff. American guy living in the Czech Republic for a long time. Lived in London for a little while, kind of was going back and forth, married an American woman. She's also interesting.
Spoiling everything.
I know. We don't even need him at this point. I'll just tell you everything about him. And
oh, that's great. Okay, hey, Will, you can leave.
We can excuse you now, Will. I think we ran the gamut there.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening.
Well, let's bring him in because there's no point in wasting any more time. Poor guy sitting there. Will, welcome, buddy.
Oh, thanks. I gotta go.
Oh, you gotta go. Oh, yeah. Busy. Yeah, something's going on. Is there something happening in Ukraine that you have to report on?
Probably the best intro I've ever. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Have you gotten a lot of intros? You're usually on the other end of the intro scene, aren't you?
Yes. Right. Yes. It's a better intro than any I've given.
Yeah. So what are you up to? I mean, I kind of have a hard time keeping track sometimes.
Right. Yeah, fair amount of juggling. I like to keep it interesting. I don't know.
So you're a juggler as well. That is interesting.
Yeah.
That's a new
just a
skill.
Career, only a career juggler. Trying not to drop too many balls when doing that. But
career juggler. Yeah. Oh, that makes more sense. Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As a bad
full-time radio for Europe these days. Mostly I'm a multimedia producer, which means generally adapting video reports from Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, really interesting issues there that only we would cover, and I adapt them for an English language audience.
Huh.
Yeah. Sometimes you might voice over something. We're also creating some original explainers on various things for YouTube, so I'm getting in front of the camera that way a bit. Keeping in practice.
I'm on the Radio Free site. Let me show you a little bit. Mm-hmm. This is some of the stuff you've done, and it looks like, well, there's the Uzbek silkworm growing. That's not maybe the biggest story.
That was really fascinating for me. I mean, I don't know if you're. I know millions of people do follow Uzbek silkworm farming. So
yeah,
really?
Do they? Why is that not showing up?
Well, they will now.
What a niche.
Uzbek silkworm. It was an amazing story. They've been doing this since the ancient Greeks were getting their silk from. That's why they made the Silk Road.
Ah, really? Okay, so there you go. Why did
and it's made the same way that it was made all those millennia ago. You've got to raise the worms. They'll only eat mulberry leaves. All done by hand. It's amazing.
Oh,
yeah, we get to look at these wonderful stories all the time.
You dig into these stories, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I put out one a day, so it's fast.
Wow.
Right.
That's a lot.
But yeah,
one Georgian who won't let protesters
videos. They might start out as a 13-minute report, and I'll just sort of condense it and cherry pick and
one Georgian who won't let protesters be called litter bugs.
Yes, the volunteer garbage lady who was going through all the Georgian protests. That was really fascinating. We have these amazing, fearless colleagues all over the world in really dangerous places to get these reports, and then I get to adapt them for English speakers. It's
Ukrainian
really
mother who served in military now helps others deal with war trauma. Mm-hmm. Serbia finally grants special passports to a few refugees. Mass snow melt, heavy rains, worsened flood.
Stories.
Yeah, a lot
of immigration stories. Always a big issue. Yeah.
And it kind of, I noticed there's a kind of an uptick in some of the genocide stuff, and obviously a lot of Russia, Ukraine war stuff. I mean, it's heavy stuff, man.
It's heavy stuff. Yeah.
And you sort of
apparently
started.
there's never been there was just there's never been a war in human history that was covered, to this extent, where
Yeah.
millions of people are there on the front lines, basically almost live,
Right.
and
Right.
because of our colleagues were already there from the start, we
Hmm.
were able to doing incredibly brave brave things right alongside the soldiers. We were able to get stuff out, that the major news networks don't have. We give it away free
Yeah.
to all the networks, because we're a mission-driven nonprofit organization. It's just, it's just the job of a lifetime.
Hmm.
I don't know how I
Yeah.
did it.
I would dig into that just briefly anyway, because I want to talk about a lot of stuff with you. But Radio Free Europe, when I first got there in 2000 to Prague, was a kind of a big deal. And there was two different types of expats, essentially, or maybe three. I remember like the Marines that were guarding the embassy. There was a few of those kind of embassy people scattered around. Then there was the expatty, like fringe, like me, basically English teachers and a few backpackers that were kind of stumbling around looking for like a place to hang their hang their hammock while they drank cheap beer. And then there was the Radio Free Europe clique, which was they were well paid. They were all living in Prague, and they had the right to be there. But they were doing this kind of like post-communist reporting on situations, and getting information in. And that had been, for those that don't know, and you can maybe tell it better anyway, but during Soviet era, pumping messages into Eastern Europe that the Soviets weren't allowing that kind of information to be heard. So you could be in East Germany and catching radio transmissions pumping out from West Germany about the actual situation and news and things that were interesting and relevant to the Soviet population at the time. Is that sort of, did I nail it?
Illegal transmissions that you could be arrested for
Yeah,
listening to, and that's
correct.
still the case with a lot of our listeners.
Yeah.
Really?
Covertly
a lot of our
listening to the
countries.
radio late at night under the covers, not letting neighbors hear that you're tuning into Radio Free Europe. You could go to prison for even having a radio or to tuning in. But that was one way that the U.S. government was able to get, I would say, anti-propaganda messages out to large members of the public masses. And
Wow.
you started working there, what did I get, about 5 years ago, was it? Something like that?
Almost 3 years. Yeah. And
Okay.
it's just on it's not actually a government-run organization. It's journalistically independent. It's funded by Congress, but there's a firewall to keep it editorially independent. Real
Yeah.
journalists doing real stories. No government oversight.
No propaganda on the Western side, hopefully.
Well,
Anti-propaganda.
yes, the Ayatollah, he might say.
Yeah,
the
Ayatollah would disagree.
Yes.
Still fascinating. And then have you moved up a bit? Because what were you doing when you first? I remember you were kind of just doing one thing, and now you seem to be doing more.
Yeah. No, I've sort of I was hired for a slightly different position, but I've ended up doing what's called multimedia producing, because I did have a bit of background as a journalist and as a filmmaker and editor. So I've been able to grow the job a bit into some really interesting.
Let's talk about your journalism real quick, because that's kind of how we met, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think I was teaching a journalism course, and I desperately wanted a character for my students to interview and write about.
Right, that was it. Yes.
And you were just advertising improv comedy or something, and I'd seen one of your
What?
flyers, and it was like, I got to get this guy in here.
That is so silly.
Yeah. I was starting some improv courses in town and was teaching people improv. And Will approached me somewhere. We met, I think, at a bar with other friends, mutual friends or something like that. And you said, "Oh, I got this class." Was that the Anglo-American University?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
and
were,
I came
you
in.
went. You were a hit. You were a hit. Yeah.
I was a hit. Yeah. I came in and it was all, and the students, they had practice interviewing me. I don't know if I was interesting at the time.
What?
Yeah, about my acting career and I guess the classes I was teaching and what brought me to Prague. I don't know, stuff like that. Was that kind of it? Yeah. And then we became friends after
How to
that.
Kill It comedy. Yeah.
How to Kill It comedy. Yeah. Yeah. I was doing stand-up. There was also some stand-up stuff going on, I remember. And
Yeah. I think there were several attempts to get a stand-up scene going in Prague. And somehow it's never quite. I mean, you left,
no,
so
Kava
that was
Kava
it. We're
Kava.
screwed. We were
We
screwed.
did a couple things there. I set up
Yeah.
with the guy, the owner and stuff, and we did a couple big nights. I remember organizing all that and stuff. Yeah, there was a little bit of a scene, but
Yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of how you started. But you're originally from Phoenix, right? Arizona,
Yep.
anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So what brought you
Grew up in.
initially to Prague?
I think somehow as a middle schooler, I saw The Third Man late night, on Channel 5 or something, and I was transfixed by
hmm.
this a glimpse of a world of danger and
Yeah,
intrigue,
cloak and dagger.
shadowy,
Yeah, figures
illogical.
lurking in
Yes,
dark
this
alleys. Yeah,
place called Europe, and the bumbling American writers could go there and
right.
meet you know intriguing women and get in trouble, and
Yeah.
that seemed like that would be a cool gig if you needed to, you had to find some kind of a job. So I thought foreign correspondent would be a pretty cool job, and then I saw foreign correspondent and what was the Roman Holiday. Those are all huge somehow to
Yeah.
middle schooler in the most boring place in America, the burbs of Phoenix. So I find a world that would be the most opposite of the one that
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, hot to cold.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. To the cold east. But weren't
Yes,
you?
exactly. You could wear overcoats and hats and
Yeah,
scarves and all
because
that.
you
Yeah,
also
yeah.
being from Phoenix, yeah, not used to it. But didn't you also live in L.A.? Weren't you doing crime reporting in L.A. at some point?
I did start my reporting career in California.
Right.
Yes, first in the Bay Area, and then I got hired eventually by the LA Daily News,
Right.
covering courts beat, which was the best beat you could ever have. Murder trials and scandals and
Oh my
toxic
gosh.
waste, and yeah, great,
Oh,
brilliant
love it.
stuff.
How long were you
Yeah.
doing that?
Gosh, I guess about 9 years altogether.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I
Oh
was a
wow.
newspaperman, proper newspaperman, and then of course the industry in America, layoffs, downsizing. So
Yeah.
I was laid off in LA, beached in LA, and my best friend said, that daydream you've always had about being a foreign correspondent in Europe. You need to go do that now. And I was like, this is great, but I don't speak German, Czech. I don't have any funds. I just lost my job. And she just said, just go try it for a couple of months. You can always
Right.
bail if it doesn't work out.
Hmm.
And at that very moment, the only car that I ever had proper insurance on was stolen, and I got $900 for
From
my stolen.
insurance.
Okay.
Yes,
Right.
I got to pay out, and I had no wheels, so obviously I had to come to Europe, and
Sounded like a really nice car.
it was in Isuzu. Yes,
A whole
it was in.
$900, huh?
Isuzu.
Yeah, I
Nine
know.
hundred back in the day.
It's all right. So that was enough for a flight ticket. What year was that then? That was the 90s, huh?
That was 94.
94. Wow. So the wall had just fallen in 1990, essentially. So you showed up in Prague in 94?
Yeah, March
Wow.
94, March 10, 94. That's I just passed my 30-year mark. That's my Independence Day, and it's that was one of my better ideas, better crazy, irrational ideas.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What brought you over now?
I was 28 and I came in 2000. I'd come previous, just kind of feeling it out a little bit. I was working in Hamburg and hanging out, and I kind of got burnt out on LA, and I decided, you know what? I've always wanted to go to Europe, same kind of thing. I just wanted to live there. I felt kind of drawn in, and I knew some people that had been and were hanging out in Prague, and I think I just kind of said, yeah, if I'm ever going to do this, now's the time. Like, if I wait 5 more years,
Exactly.
I'll be dug in here. And LA wasn't really my scene in a lot of
Yeah,
respects, right?
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of the land of the big ego, I called it. So
Mm, mm,
I packed it in. I actually went in for writing myself. I went to get my master's degree and I was going to be a travel writer.
mhm.
So I was finishing my master's and I had 6 months and it was all independent at that point and I just needed a thesis. So yeah, I packed it in. I came to Prague and I did my thesis
Mhm.
on Prague, essentially like a travel writing kind of book and stuff. And that's kind of how I got started there. Yeah, but really
All
was
right.
glad I did. Yeah, and that was 2000, so it was 10 years after the wall had fallen.
Yeah.
Um, and it was still really, really the wild, wild east, wasn't it? Even then,
Yeah.
when
I
you showed
mean,
up, it must have been just nuts.
it was. I mean, yeah. It still had that Cold War feel. I mean, there was
Yeah.
still,
Oh,
buildings
yeah.
falling down and sinister people, and you couldn't
Yeah.
get anything done. And you
No,
had to make a
corruption everywhere.
you had to go to the post office and get in a weird booth if you wanted to call anyone in America. And you
Oh,
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Money
it was,
changers on the streets, Trabants and Ladas and Skoda
yeah,
150s driving around like these empty, dark streets and
yeah,
no
yeah. For regular
services.
regular bouts of food poisoning, and
Oh God. Oh God. I talk about that still. When I first, you couldn't go out to a restaurant. You get ill immediately.
really?
Oh, every other meal was just like because they didn't have any food
Regulations?
regulations or
Good.
any health inspection. And the other thing was, I remember I had just gotten in LA. I'd gotten fiber broadband, and it was like I was downloading crazy. And then I got to Prague, and it was beep beep beep. Back
yeah,
to this like telephone and people didn't have internet and all this stuff. It was like, ooh, it was a
yeah.
big, big leap backwards. Yeah. Crazy.
You made your
You
own
were
Wi-Fi.
you couldn't get a phone installed. You had to make sure when you were getting an apartment that had a phone in it because you were never going to get one
Oh,
installed.
right. Yeah.
Oh,
On the waiting list.
Oh, and I had a combo of those stories. I was staying with the family in my first place. They had a phone where I think the nine didn't work. It was a big orange plastic phone. The nine didn't
Yeah.
work. I got food poisoning, brutal food poisoning. I was there alone. I felt like I should call somebody just in case I die. I was trying to think of friends I knew that didn't have a nine in their number, and I ended up
oh
calling
my
some friends
God.
I didn't really know that well, just to tell them, just in case
Yeah.
they find my
Yeah.
body or anything.
Here's the
It's,
number of my mother.
yeah,
She has two nines in it. You'll have to call
So
her
I can't call
because I
her.
can't.
Oh my
yeah,
I
gosh.
had that orange phone, by the way. That was the big. You had the one. Everybody had the same orange communist rotary dial phone.
yeah,
That yeah, that worked half the time, and you could tell people were listening in. Also back in those
yeah,
days, like there was like the click on and the click off.
yeah, yeah.
It was wild, wild. I also had this thing called a
Weird.
combi, which was this Russian-made. I'll just tell a stupid story real quick, but it was the Russian-made washing machine, and I remember specifically
Oh
saying,
yeah.
I need a washing
Once it
machine,
turned all your clothes gray, right?
Yeah, it turned it and it stretched
Or
them out
purplish
because
gray.
it had this like
Yeah,
It turned them all
you could basically
gray.
wash one
purple gray. Yeah.
sock at a time. Anyway,
Mhm.
it would destroy anything you put in. It was a
That's
Russian
brilliant. Yeah.
one side of the box. You stuck some laundry and you could get like a sock and a
Mhm.
t-shirt in there, and then it close it up and yeah, it would turn everything like one color. And then you
Oh
take
my
it over to the
gosh.
centrifuge part that dried it, and it would take your sock and stretch it out half a mile. Uh,
Yeah.
it was the most
I almost
ridiculous,
forgot
useless
about that. Yeah.
the Combi with a K. All this Soviet made stuff and just it was nuts. It was the wild, wild east. It was a big culture shock and also a big like kind of I would say a slam to the ego, but in a good way. Like
Yeah.
it took you back, like being yelled at by people in languages you didn't understand and breaking rules you didn't understand, right? And just
Yes.
not knowing the rules of what where you were and what people wanted from you, or and being the
Yeah.
foreigner.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
wild. So
Yeah.
when did you start with Prague Post? Was that already going there?
I
Out?
found regular work pretty much from the minute I showed up.
Hmm.
Thanks.
Freelancing for them. They would never
Right,
hire me because it turned out I was overqualified at
right.
that point.
Was that
It was a young,
Alan?
very
What was that
eager,
guy's
very
name?
smart staff, but
Who was the guy that
they
ran it?
and
Alan Levy?
uh,
No.
Alan Levy was, yeah, he was editor in chief. He
Yeah,
basically just wrote his column,
yeah,
but he was officially editor in chief,
yeah,
and then he went to a lot of free stuff.
yeah. He went to all the
Um,
embassy dinners and
yes,
parties and
yeah,
stuff.
he
All
was
the different. Yeah,
bigger
That
than
guy.
life
yeah. He had a
character.
great life. Yeah.
Yeah, he liked me. Unfortunately, he wasn't in charge of hiring. So, but I got regular work. It's funny that your plan was to become a travel writer, because I accidentally became a travel writer through. I mean, nobody needed a crime reporter or a courts
Right.
reporter in Prague, or I wouldn't understand the courts anyway. So they asked me to start reviewing restaurants and doing travel stories. And then when Time Out and Fromers and different guides needed people in Prague, there was quite a bit of demand for new guides because everybody
Yeah.
was coming to Prague. They would call up the Prague Post and they would hire people. And I became a travel writer somehow through that.
Huh.
Yeah. 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 There was a huge demand for just somebody that knew what the hell was going on.
The city needed some explaining. People did
Yeah.
need a bit of hand holding to get
Yeah.
through. I mean, it's still a brilliant, amazing, wonderful place to live. But yes, there were a few things that would be good to know about.
Yeah. Yeah. I created a lot of material myself around like just basics and fundamentals and understanding what it is that's kind of going on. It was interesting. Really hard, steep
Yeah,
learning curve.
key check drinking phrases. You needed,
Yes.
yeah, those were going to be important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pivot, dwie piva.
Mm-hmm.
One beer and two beers.
Yes, which would go right into, do you want to see my butterfly collection? And it was
There you go.
apparently an
Right.
actual Czech thing,
That was a Czech
actual
thing.
Czech
Yes.
line
Yeah.
that you needed. Yeah.
To pick up girls. Yeah. Go home and check out my butterfly collection. Yeah. 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 So, and you've been there for, geez, man, you kind of haven't left. I know you did
Now it's,
London a
yeah,
little bit.
30 years. Yeah, yeah.
30 years.
Half my life.
Yeah,
Yes.
30 years. Most of your adult life
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Prague. Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't at all sure this was even gonna, last, 3 months. But pretty much knew after a week here. I just had that feeling this is my place.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Yeah,
and you
just
were able to
belong here.
cobble,
It's
you were making a living
well, I was
as
a
it was.
moment. It was March, but it was still. I think the winters were colder then. I was sitting in this kind of dodgy pizza place. The snow was falling on the Gothic spires and I just knew that. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna work.
Yeah.
Huh.
It as Kafka said, Prague has claws.
Yeah,
And it kind of drags you in, and that was something we always kind of would reiterate. The expats would reiterate to ourselves and each other that there's just
Huh.
something about it that even if you try to leave,
there's
a lot of people try to leave and they'd always end up back.
they do. Yeah, yes, sneaking back through the back door. Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
there's serious energy. Maybe it's sometimes dark energy, but yeah.
Yeah.
A lot has happened here, and you can feel the vibes, and yeah,
A
it's
lot
an
of
incredible
changes.
place. A
Yeah.
lot of
Watch out,
mystics
Todd.
been drawn here. Yeah.
Yeah, I managed to escape and have not been back in a long time, but I need to
Knock
go
on wood.
back and check it out. But I'm afraid I'd get dragged in. And I tell you what, if things really went bad again for me somehow or somewhere, I'd probably end up in Prague.
There you go.
It'll happen. They'll be
If
here
I
next
just
week.
wanted to, right? If I wanted to restart everything and just go, you know what? Yeah, let's go back to Prague. It's home. It's comfortable.
Prague has claws. What a great
Prague
line.
has claws. That's Kafka.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the little mother has claws. I think that's
The
what
little mother has
Kafka put it.
claws. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how
Huh.
Kafka. So let's talk about the acting a little bit, Will, because I know you did stuff when you were younger. Was it uni? Did you go to uni or
Yeah,
in Phoenix?
actually, yes, I went to Northwestern and was in
Right.
the drama program and was sort of on,
Right.
that was what I wanted to do. And it's an amazing, amazing school. I was just looking up, apparently Laura Linney and Stephen Colbert were a little bit behind me. They must have been there when I was there. Of course,
Oh,
nobody
okay.
knew they were.
Oh, wow.
All of this just endless, great talents and people. Julie Louis-Dreyfus was a year ahead of me. She would do improv comedy on campus, which was I didn't think was that good, but she's improved a lot.
She got better.
She dived
Most
in, she went for it, and
She improved.
obviously
We
worked
love
out.
that.
So yeah, exactly.
What kind of stuff were you
So yeah,
doing?
it's an incredible environment for that, and I had the chance to really. I think that it would have worked. What happened was I got interested in journalism, and I had this thought that okay, so you could have a career acting out these amazing characters in places, or you could go to those places and be in those situations if you're a journalist,
Yeah.
and that seemed more interesting. And you could always go back to acting. Try this journalism thing for maybe 10 years, and then you
Right.
go back to acting. Also, they had a film program which was not integrated with the acting program. Crazily, I think nowadays you have to, obviously, but back then it was a separate film school that had no connection to the drama school. Drama school had all the resources, and they had all kinds of huge stages and facilities, and
Yeah.
the film school had nothing. So somehow I joined the film department and didn't get my hands on a camera until my junior year. It was like a Bolex from the war
Right.
for like one class for one assignment. So I didn't get a lot of practical knowledge from that. I got some good film theory and history,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I was also aiming for a bit of a film. That was my initial, but I'm only saying because it was similar times for me. Film stock, that was
It's crazy
prohibitive.
expensive, yes, and develop processing, yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing, and then getting hold of the equipment. And so
Yeah.
the really creative people were like getting film ends,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
borrowing, finding places where they could borrow equipment in Hollywood and different places.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and it was going to add another 20 grand to my already very expensive education. Yeah, to go into film school, because you had to come up with a thesis project and
Yeah.
developing the thing and cutting it and all that stuff. And it was just prohibitive at the time. This is for the kids at home. This is pre-digital, so you're talking about filming.
No,
Film
I
school
mean,
was film school.
yeah, they gave us 8mm cameras to actually
Like
try to
physical
work
film.
with.
Yeah, like film,
Yeah.
like physical
Yeah,
film.
I mean, we had the earliest sort of beta and video decks, but they were made of concrete, and they
Massive.
carry them around. They were
Also expensive. The tapes and things were expensive, and 45, and the editing bays were always used. It was not like it is today, where you can shoot a movie on a phone in your pocket.
Did you have to need to use like a black room for film also? Do you know what I'm talking about? Am I using the right words?
Dark room, like
dark room. Yeah.
For
Did you have to do that for film too?
processing photos, that would
photos.
be
You
handy,
would
but no,
use
you had to send it to a lab
for the
lab
film.
fees.
Yeah, you had to pay a
film,
lab. You
send
have
it
to
to a
send in
lab.
you'd have to send it
To a
in.
lab, yeah.
And then to edit that stuff, you had to use the old what was that
Oh my
thing called?
God, the flatbeds, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The videola, machine, something like
these
that.
huge giant tables. You had to book at time and in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did a lot of that as well, but I ended up like, okay, I got a minor in film studies or something like that, because I got enough credits to qualify for that. But I had film school. I was like, okay, what else you got?
Yeah. It was frustrating. It was really frustrating. Yeah.
But you were doing plays and stuff?
I was in a few plays. Yeah. I was getting roles, and I just realized the other day, I was in this incredible environment. I could have studied journalism and still done more, learned a lot more about the craft, and been with some incredible actors and directors. But I guess I just decided I was going to be a journalist, and that's going to be a full-on thing, and I was kind of done with acting at that point.
Sure.
And it's it's all storytelling, really. It's it's all.
I'm with you.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing, and the things that drew me. That I also was interested in journalism. That always would have been my second choice.
You'd have been great.
Oh, thank you. I still look at stuff and think, oh man, I'd love to just like, I don't know. I watch Euronews or something. I'm like, man, I can go out there and report on this stuff, and write. Because you're meeting, like you said, you're meeting real people. You're traveling a bit. You're getting out there. You're living the life, and you're being, and you're telling stories, human stories, and that's the same thing that's attractive about acting.
Absolutely. You're always looking for characters and stories, and trying to listen to get them right. And,
there's a definite cohesion between the two. There's a definite marriage, I think, or a relationship that they have. Maybe they're cousins.
Yeah. And you use acting all the time as a journalist. You constantly, pretend to know something that you may not when you're interviewing some intimidating figure, or you pretend that you're not scared to death, or you know what you're talking about when you've got to ask some CEO or some judge some embarrassing questions that nobody else would ask. It's
I'm interested in I wanted to, for this interview, some kind of some on-camera journalists, interviewers, and
who aren't actors at all, but because I think there is that massive similarity between, you know, having to fill the, you know, play a role and relate to somebody and listen, all those skills are all the same. Yeah. It's
This
interesting.
podcast is kind of journalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I guess I did in the end, kind of get into the interview format. And you also, you interview and create. I'm also
Yeah.
I remember something else we did. We met again, or we knew each other. I guess it was our mutual friend, and we did the wedding video together. I was shooting.
Yes. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, we were both sort of trying to develop documentary chops, I think, at that point. And you
Yes.
found a really cool gig shooting weddings, which a lot of documentarians do.
Yeah.
That's a natural, you know. Yeah.
Well, I was shooting a lot of
There.
fashion clips and different things. I was working for Fashion TV, and I was shooting for stuff for a magazine I was working for. I was actually the editor of this little fashion magazine, online fashion magazine for a while. And I was shooting those clips.
I think every actor should have a camera in their hands, and they should be on both sides of the camera. It
totally.
really helps you to understand exactly what they're doing, what they're looking for, and how light works, and how your sound, you know, what the shot is, and yeah.
Do you remember remember it was J.R. Hall, and I think he got me the gig and said, "Oh, you know, I'm going to shoot this wedding video. Why don't you do it? I'll kind of be there. I'm going to be at the JR." And he goes, "And I got this guy that's going to come help." And it turned out to be you. And I was like, "Oh, I know Will." And you were kind of, I don't know, can I say green?
I was new at it, and yes, I was still learning my.
Do you remember screwing it up?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
You screwed up a big shot, like the
it was just the vows.
The vows. You screwed
the wedding. Important.
The wedding vows. I was like, what the?
There was a sun shaft right on the bride's face, and one half had bright sun, one was in shadow, and I didn't realize that when you expose for the sun, it's pretty simple.
Artistic.
You know that now. I somehow exposed the wrong. It was when
blocking the whole thing was blocked or something. Luckily, we had another angle on it, but I was like, okay, well that's.
And you were very kind to me. You didn't scream at me or call me an idiot. Yeah, you were very kind.
I think I was so.
Never hired me again. Fair enough.
No, I never used you again after that. That was the end.
No.
But I don't know if we. But
these shots you got of the B-roll was very, very nice. You were very.
I did. That's right. I had to edit a lot of B-roll in there to work around, and it was a lot. It was a big process, but yeah, no, that was funny. It's coming back to me now. Yeah, our days. Okay, but now let's talk about. I keep bumping that. Let's talk about Will, the actor. Because Prague is kind of a place, I'll set it up and then you complete, where I had given up essentially myself on acting and was going to get into this writing thing, and I gave up on LA, and I was like, okay, I'm done with this whole scene. I'm just going to go be a writer and live in Europe, right? And then all of a sudden there was some theater going on, and there were some castings going on, and a lot of big productions were coming through, and they were shooting and you could start like, you could get like commercials and little roles and things and all this kind of stuff. So I know you do that and have been doing it and started doing it, and it's actually kind of interesting for you. So let's talk us through that. Walk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Just another, completely by accident, I happened to be geographically in a really good place to start getting back into acting. Then, there are all kinds of. Prague was a hot place to shoot. There are not unions here. There are incredible crews that can produce any period you could ever imagine for a low budget. Locations, really incredible resources, and people love to shoot here. If you're going to shoot a big series where you have to be camped out for 3 months, you're going to get, you need to get a name actor to come be here. They'll want to. Prague is a nice place for them to be for 3 months. They might not want to go to Bulgaria, or Romania, even though you might get a cheaper production there. So. There's a demand. They'll hire all the major actors, and bring them all here. But for all the minor parts, it makes more sense economically to hire them local. And there are enough English-speaking international types here who will, that you can get them for those parts.
Yeah. So when did you kind of start? What was the first kind of thing you got?
I got let's see. I learned about Maya's Murnix Turnix, little local casting place, who was connected to Still King, was one of the also sort of an independent production company that did really well here using the Barrendorf facilities. There were these big old
Yeah,
Barrendorf was a
American
huge
guy.
old state-run film
Yeah,
studio.
Barrendorf is as old as, I mean, it's
Yeah,
over 100
Todd,
years old.
You've brought Barrendorf up before.
Huge stages, wonderful facilities. It was falling apart when we got here, and some smart people got in there and they said,
Yeah.
you know, this could be useful for some things.
Yeah.
And they would do these castings, and yeah, I guess probably about 10 years ago, I somehow got myself into one and read for a little part in the BBC Three Musketeers production. Got a part of a wealthy merchant being robbed and killed.
I remember that, yeah.
In a carriage. Yes, I don't know. Fabulous outfit.
You looked great, yeah.
Got to be a great wig, and I got to be whacked on camera, which is.
I wish I had some
always,
pictures to show. Yeah, yeah, that's always great.
That was good fun. I
Being
got
whacked.
something else that I was in a Dutch historical thing. It seems my thing is I apparently have an old soul and one of these old school faces. You know.
You look Dutch. You could pass for this kind of European. Yeah.
I clearly don't belong in this century. That's
No.
I've always done, and somehow I've always done like the Dottie Butler or the senile judge or the even in high school I was doing this. It's just my thing, and so
eccentric old men.
Eccentric old, yes, yeah.
And now you've grown into the role. Like
exactly.
Literally.
I can be a little more authentic now. Yeah,
it's authentic.
Don't need as much makeup.
What kind of name is Tizard anyway? Do you ever?
I think it's Cornish, actually.
It is Cornish,
Eddie Izzard
for sure.
is Cornish. So
oh, Cornish.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Cornwall. Yeah, I come from a long line of depressed coal miners who could sing well.
Yeah.
So, my
did.
My grandfather was a copper miner. I think he learned that maybe in the old country. Came out west because they needed miners.
Like children?
No, people working. Yeah.
Sorry, talk about Cornish.
That's it.
That's a Cornish
joke.
Gosh. Oh my god.
So wait, your people came. Did you ever trace anything? I mean, they came to America.
I know that that there was a great grandmother in Ireland, and apparently we were tangentially related to Lord Henry Tizard, who was an important scientist in World War II, involved in some radar stuff.
Right.
So,
okay. So there's a lot of English.
Not like we could show up at the manor and say we're
boom boom boom. Hey, where's my bedroom?
Where's my bedroom?
What time's dinner?
Yeah.
Okay, but there's a lot of Britannia and British Isles.
Exactly. Yeah,
types.
Scots-Irish.
Scots-Irish, Celtic,
working
Saxon,
folk.
Anglo. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
okay.
It makes sense. You fit the bill. Okay, so
long
then,
faces.
So yeah, you're still, yeah, sullen, depressed.
Prone to depression. Yes.
Yeah, craggy. That's perfect. Yeah. Well, listen, for a character actor, there's a ton of that stuff. There's always, and you've done a lot of commercials.
I get I've gotten a few.
The odd, yeah. What kind of commercial?
As a wacky scientist, a mad scientist.
That's right, the wacky scientist. Yeah. Yeah, you look good in that too, actually.
It was,
What was that for? Cornetto?
A local predatory lending company, as I understand it.
Oh,
they're not going to hear this. Anyway, that was
your
they were very nice.
Been paid.
And yes.
Okay, so at what point does
I was just going to say, I've done enough auditions that obviously the more auditions you do, the better. You just become more relaxed and better practice at it. And you're never going to get the part most of the time, and you have to be fine with it. But I've noticed that when I'd like to hear how you come down on this, because I think you probably would do some fabulous self tapes and performances on your own. You really know what you're doing. You know how to use a camera, and if you've been successful using self tapes for auditions or versus live, because I've discovered that when I go in person, there's an interaction between me and the casting director that almost always I have much better success
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you're there.
Yeah,
in the room.
that's been a real trade-off, and that's changed in the industry. It was already kind of starting before pre-COVID. It was starting to
Mhm.
take shape, but most people still would have been called in. Now it's
Yes.
completely gone. For the
Yeah.
most part, it's gone entirely self, and
Yeah.
I struggle with that as well. Because here's what's happened, I think, is that they are looking for the performance that they are going to get on camera on that self-tape. They want to
Yeah.
see like start to finish. There's no room to go, okay, yeah, I can see he's got chops. He can do something with it. We'll rehearse. We'll get him on set. And, nope. They go, I
No.
want
No.
this performance. And if you can't, you might as well film it and shoot the whole scene and just send it to them that they can edit it straight into the piece.
Mm.
That
Mm.
to that level. And that means the choices you're making, you kind of have to just make a choice.
Yeah.
And if they like that choice, maybe you give them two
Yeah.
choices, but you can't do more.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas, like you said, you get in the room, and my best breaks always come when the director's in the room. If the director's not even in the
Yeah.
room,
Okay.
I really don't even want to go in.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
called in for live castings that are just with the assistants, and I'm like, this is pointless. You're just gonna do,
Mm.
I could do this at home, and you're not gonna be able to instruct me, and you don't get a vibe. You're not gonna report back to the
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
Most of my successes come from the rapport you get with the director.
Yeah.
And he's already seen your reel, he or she, they've already seen your reel, they've seen your resume. They know you can act.
Yeah.
They want to kind of see, like, well, like you said, I got to spend a few weeks or a few days or a month with this guy on the set
Yeah.
somewhere. Is he cool? I got to travel with them. I got to work with them. I want to develop some things. So until you get up to a next level actor where your reputation precedes you, you are
Yeah.
kind of, you're going to be stuck in this arena of hit and miss.
Yeah. Right. No, and even if it's not the director, the casting director will have better insights into what they're looking for, and she'll give you a nudge in a different direction that she knows is what they
Yeah,
want, and that's gold. That is gold.
that's
Yeah.
much better. Yeah. I mean, is it gone to self tapes primarily in Prague still, or are you getting
They're
in?
always, they're always, they seem to be completely equal about whether they get self tapes or you come in. It seems to not matter to them at all, but it
Okay.
definitely matters to the actor, I think. If you
So
want
you're
to,
having the choice?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. This
And
is how is it
you're
in
going,
London?
yeah, there's no choice. There's the occasional, the director really wants somebody in for this, but the
Yeah,
director's not there. And you go, well,
right.
bring him
Yeah,
in. Because here's the other problem
yeah,
is they can see, now they have the luxury with the self tape of seeing 100, and they
yeah,
don't even have to look at them.
yeah,
Do a self tape, and then they can kind of choose if they want to look at your self tape based on your
yeah,
picture. Then they
yeah,
scroll and go, oh, let's see that self tape. So
yeah,
I think there needs to be some change in the industry, to be honest, where you pay the actor for their self tape. Something even nominal, even if it's
mm,
20, 50 quid or dollars or whatever.
mm,
Let's say $25. Well, you'll be a lot less likely to just go across the board. Let's see 50 people, you know.
mhm, mhm,
It would force the casting director, the director, and others to do their job, which is to
mhm,
more proactively seek out the right actor, and
mhm.
not like, surprise me, what do you got?
No,
Because at the end of
yeah,
the day, they
just
might just look at your picture and go, the director who's finally now in contact with the casting director who really didn't know much. And it's a small role, 3 lines maybe, or a
yeah,
couple scenes. And they go,
yeah,
I was picturing somebody younger. We got anybody younger?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
we're trying to get more diversity into here. Maybe you got an
yeah,
Asian or a black. And they go, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And they
Right.
just go, all right, well, let's just go with that because we don't have enough diversity.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Which
they
is
don't even look
really
at what
important
you've
for you to
done.
keep in mind as an actor that you didn't do anything wrong. Even if you give a
Right,
great performance, they have an agenda you don't know about. They have
right. Yeah,
a list of
yeah.
things they're looking for that you just happen to not
You
be
don't,
that type
you
they
don't,
wanted or something.
well, so you have to be, but
So,
you also have to kind of be mindful of your time. And, I know actors that are spending days preparing and doing and
yeah,
getting and learning and putting together and have, can do 100 self tapes with no result now. So there
yeah,
needs to be, I'm in the actors equity here, and there's ongoing talk about changing things, and there needs to be a change with that.
Yeah.
As convenient as it
So-
is not to have to drag my ass into London for 15 minutes, on a casting, it's no compensation for the quality of the casting that you get, the experience and the opportunity you get to kind of get in the room and make an impression.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's where I
exactly.
shine. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're
exactly.
right. You're right to
They
be.
pay for callbacks now.
They will.
Do
They
they?
will
Sometimes.
sometimes they will pay for a,
Yeah, I've
a
got paid for a
recall.
callback.
Yeah.
Recall.
Well, callback. But
Fair enough.
yeah.
There's another thing going on with the sort of the paranoia and the secrecy there, because they're so fearful that the scripts will get out, that
Yeah.
they will
Yeah.
not even have you read for the actual part,
Yeah.
right? They'll have you read for a similar part and not even tell you what you're going to be in, what the part
Something,
is, right?
Yeah.
The intrigue.
Yeah. Well, you get a scene, or you get 5 lines from something you don't even know what is this? What am I doing?
And it's not even going to go in the end product.
It doesn't. Well, yeah,
Right.
but it has nothing. You don't even know the context of what you know.
Right.
It's you're reading opposite. And am I a strong arm guy? Am I scared in this scene? Am I a cocky? I don't know. And so you make a choice, and they go, oh no, that's not what we want. We wanted to. Oh, this guy's cocky. Well, tell me I'm an actor. They don't understand. Like, just tell me you wanted it cocky. And they give a lot of details in these breakdowns about the story and he's on the run, about the lead actors and stuff, but they never go, this character is in this situation right now. The guy I want to know about the guy I'm reading. I don't need your, like, I know you're proud of your show or whatever, but I don't know, Same with video games and stuff. It's like, just tell me what is this guy, this person?
Yeah.
Oh, I could go
really
on and on.
Important reason to be there, and
yeah, to have the conversation with the director.
Yes.
And have
really
him
be a
go, oh,
detective.
this guy really cares. He's curious, and then change. That's what I want the director to see. I did it one way, then I asked you some questions, or you talked to me, and I go, oh, and then I did it a completely different way. And at least the director goes, oh, this guy's got range. I won't have any problem with him on the day.
Yeah.
And
related to that, my biggest, most painful lesson ever, I actually got cast in Carnival Row, playing a Brit, sort of a street hawker. But I hadn't yet met the director, but they were really obsessive about wanting to get the accents right, which is fair enough. I'd lived in London. I felt like I could pull it off. I'm kind of, if I hear anything, I can do it. But he when I finally did get to meet him, I'd already signed, I'd already been cast, but he wanted to work with me on the part, and it was a part for a Victorian Bobby, basically. And he felt like one of my syllables wasn't the perfect. So he asked me, okay, can you just do the part without the accent? And it completely threw me off. I would just turned into it was just, useless. I just stared at him and completely flubbed, and ended up not being in the production. But the lesson learned, and they all gave me the most sympathetic smile. You could instantly see I had crashed and burned from.
They go, okay.
Yes. But the lesson
No,
from
but they're
that,
so nice about it.
They're just looking at you going,
I mean, everybody's
we'll fix
in that
it in
situation,
post.
but I think I'm more of a technical actor, and somehow you can't be a Victorian Bobby without the accent, and the walk and the shoes.
Yeah,
and
of course.
It's all together. It becomes the character for me. But the lesson was that if I had just said, you know what, I just got thrown by the no accent. If we could just try that again, he would have said, fine, I've got 5 more minutes. We're already, and I would have recovered. But I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
And that right there, that is,
Oh, that's a big
something
lesson.
really good to know.
Yeah. We had that conversation.
Second time through, I generally do get it if there's a hang up. It just takes me.
Yeah, this happens. This is the other thing. You get chucked onto a set, and it's a big, crazy set, like very impressive. And there's a lot of people running around doing a very professional job, and you're in costume, and the pressure starts to mount. And then you look over, and there's some celebrity who's in it. You go, oh man, that's so and so. And the director's big, and the budget is huge, and then nobody's paying any attention to you for the most part. They're getting you dressed and everything, and you're sitting in the trailer. And then they go, okay. And then you jump out there and you go, and all of a sudden it's lights, camera, action, and it's all on you.
Yeah.
And how capable, how knowledgeable, how experienced are you to be able to grab that moment, hold it, take it, own it, not let go till you get what you want. They get what they want. That takes experience, and it takes
Yeah.
a little prior knowledge, and takes some chutzpah, to be fair.
Yeah. And there will always be a variable that pops in. Oh, we need you to do it while walking backwards and holding this tray.
And hit
You
this
know, you're
mark.
always going
Right.
to be ready, or,
Yeah.
and that they want to redo it 12 times.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
they did,
Over the shoulder.
You're in and out,
and
or
then
maybe
this
they want to redo
rotate.
it 12 times, 3 different angles.
Yeah.
That just happened to me, and keep it up. Make sure it's consistent, and
You're
Yeah.
learning the
Yeah.
when was that Carnival Row? That's a big show.
Yeah. I think they're in already the second season of big Amazon production here.
Oh, are they?
yeah.
Okay. So you got cut from that ultimately, or did they just dub you?
That was it. That's my swan song. I was, got paid, but you will
Right.
not be seeing me on screen in that.
They got somebody else. They flew somebody in from London quickly, and
No, they probably got one of my neighbors to do it. It's you meet the same 12 guys at all these things. We all know each
they
other.
get Peter to do it. I know Peter.
Yeah,
He's about your.
it's all good.
So let's talk
camaraderie.
about. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's hit and miss, and you just can't feel. I did something years ago, and
Beat yourself up.
you can't beat yourself up. I had a monologue. It was all exposition, and I think I told this story before, but I'll tell it quickly anyway. But the night before, I had the script and stuff. I'm going over this kind of exposition monologue, and I get an email or something from production, and they go, "That's all cut. You just have this line now, right?"
Mhm.
And I was
Classic,
like, "Yeah." And so kind of me was like, "Phew, okay, well, that's a load off because all this garbage gook I got to tar. I don't know what the hell I'm talking." So just a quick line, that's great. Then I get to the set, and they hand me the sides, and they go, and I look at this monologue is in there. I go, "Sorry, I thought that was out." And somebody goes, "Oh, I don't think so. Let me check."
Oh, was this the prison one?
Yeah. And they go, "Oh, no, that's still in there." And I hadn't prepared it. I gave up on the thing. So now I'm like, oh my God, I'm cramming. And I've got the thing in my hand. I'm trying to learn these lines. It wasn't a lot, but the pressure. And I got onto the set, and the director goes, "Oh, okay. Oh, we have the kid with the thing. And let's hear it." And I go, and I got that exact same look that you got, which was like, I could literally see it in his head. The wheels are spinning. He's going, "We'll fix it in post." And I'm going,
Fix it in post.
and me, I'm going, and instead of standing up I go, "Look, I just got this. Like I just got handed this. Give me 20 minutes."
Yeah, no one cares. That doesn't matter.
No one cares, but I should have known, like, wait a minute, I'm the actor here. I've been hired. I'm on the set. Like, they need me to do this. What are they going to go? We're in some village somewhere. They're not going to go find somebody else that can do this right now. Maybe they think they can fix it in post, but I need 20 minutes. I'll come back and I'll do it before you start making decisions.
And you can ask for that, and you'll probably get it. Because
absolutely. Because that's what a professional does.
Yeah.
As opposed to.
Well, that's a very good reason why you would need it. Yeah.
Yeah. It happens all the time, but that look, that kind of like, okay, right. And then the third AD comes up and goes, "Hey, hey, Will, I think I'm not going to use you today, actually." Yeah.
Have you shared your story about you were some kind of a cave? It was like a medieval sorcery thing, and you were kind of chewing up the furniture, or you didn't want the role. You were shooting in bad weather, and you deliberately were chewing up the furniture performing, and you got sent home on purpose, I think, one time. Do you remember that story?
Wait, Todd was it Hellboy?
There's a couple stories like that. Yeah. There's another one.
There's a couple stories.
There was another one where I was like,
Todd Kramer.
No, you were calling out the name of some weird name of the phantom guy who was arriving.
That one. Yeah, that was what was the name of that one? Yeah. That one I went up to the director. Well, they hadn't explained anything.
Right, of course.
About what these guys are. It was like, and I didn't know it was based on a comic book.
Yes.
I can't. Yeah, and
a lot of the things that shoot here are basically monster movies, or yes.
Yeah, and the guy says, Solomon Kane. That was the movie.
That was it.
Solomon Kane, and he kind of comes up, and they go, "Okay, so," and I'm supposed to go, "Here he comes, Solomon Kane," or something like that, and we're like these I didn't know what we were, creatures or something like that. So I sort of just tried to ask a question. I was like, well, are these guys like, because we were like these freakish, we had these scars and different things. And the guy didn't want to, he was the director, he didn't want to answer any questions. He just looked at me like, why would you even ask me anything? And I go, I'm looking at him, I go, well, the camera's going to be on me, right? I have a line where, and I said, I was thinking I'll probably do it kind of like this. And he goes, okay. And the next thing I know, meanwhile, though, I feel vindicated because the movie was crap. It got really panned, apparently. No, it was big. It was one of these fan movies that everybody was looking forward to. And I probably shouldn't say this stuff in my very own podcast, but it didn't do well in the theater. And there's a reason.
Indeed, my own.
Yeah, you dig my own grave on
Exactly.
this. But there was a reason it didn't do well. And it was just like clear that, okay, the director's not really, like, he didn't know what he was doing either. Like, he didn't have and he's just relying on me to know. But directors that don't know what actors do and don't know how to communicate with actors, this is a bugaboo with me, big pet peeve. Take an acting class, man. Figure it out. What do we do?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, that's the flip side of that everybody can be a filmmaker now, which is brilliant. But yes, like
pretty pictures.
There's the whole thing. Like, okay, so you want to get just if you're getting back into it, someone like me, there are lots of film schools here. You can get yourself on a list. You could be in student productions. That seems like a good idea just for keeping up, just in practice.
Definitely.
But the thing that every film school director neglects and spends no time on is the actor. They're obsessed with getting the camera, the shot, the
pretty pictures.
sound. They have no time to tell the actor anything, give them anything.
No, they expect that you know what you're doing. They hire you as a pro, and you're supposed to just go on the set and then do your thing. Yeah. After they go action, then you do your thing. Right.
Yeah, you're on your own, I guess.
And then they go cut. Yeah. And the DOP and the director over there going, how did it look? Oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
And they don't even know what the performance. They have the total disconnect between what it is you're doing, what they're doing, and there shouldn't be because.
Yeah. No, I mean, technically amazing films with no performance energy and nothing happening.
Absolutely. And they always get panned because they go, yeah, look beautiful, but there's no story. There's no life in it. And these people don't understand. Well, they were just making pretty pictures.
And performance.
Absolutely.
Grab my roommate. I don't know what it's about. No,
Right.
Yeah.
But it looked gorgeous. If I turn the volume down, I can watch it all day. It's like amazing, beautiful. And it's the equivalent to me of artistic masturbation. Now, since we're talking about it, let's shift into your theater, your film journalism. Because you're really, obviously we've been doing it now, but that's when did you start working for Variety, and when did you start writing about the film business then in Prague?
Right. So that actually came out of me being a penniless freelancer, and someone said, "Oh, there's this the Karlovy Vary Film Festival has a festival paper, and it's a fun gig. You go there, they put you up, and you get to interview actors and go to films and get your accreditation." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that." And it just happened that I was there working for that little no-budget summer publication when the Variety correspondent in Prague retired, and they needed somebody. And Stephen Gaidos, who was a Variety bigwigs, always came there, and he saw my little article while he was having breakfast at the festival paper. You could tell I somewhat knew what I was talking about and could write. And they rang me up and said, would you like to be our correspondent? And
wow. Was that Kathy?
Awesome.
That was Kathy's gig.
It was Kathy Miles. Yeah,
Kathy
she
Miles.
was a legend. Yeah. She's been doing it for a decade. And that's the kind of gig that you never get because no one ever gives that up. But it
Nobody's
just so
gonna
happened
give that up,
for family reasons, she was going to put it aside, and they called me up. And I was really intimidated and thinking I don't know nearly enough about the industry or how film works. But the thing is, once you're a reporter for a few years, you realize you can basically be thrown into any situation. You'll figure it out. You don't have to be, an incredible expert. You just
Right.
need to have a little bit more knowledge than the average reader. That you know what you know.
Which you can get from the interviewee.
It's humbling. Ask when you don't know something.
Mm.
You'll figure out enough to and it's turned into this brilliant opportunity. It's better than any film school. You
Yeah.
can. I got to sit down with Armin Miller-Stahl and he explained to me how character, he builds character up from the shoes. It's because that gives you the walk, and then the incredible insights you get, the people you can meet and ask things to.
Yeah.
And you find out how the local industry works and how things are funded and how things are cast and where the scripts come from and why there were so many terrible scripts that get made, and you see where the opportunities are, and it was really really a nice thing to fall into my lap.
You've interviewed some big names.
Yeah.
I mean, they come if they have a film to promote. They usually come, and then you end up getting to sit down.
They get
with
great
them.
people. Great people at Todd and Variety usually wants to talk to them. And,
drop some names. We're trying to get a little heat on this podcast.
Let's see. Meeting Charlie Kaufman was like I almost you don't do a selfie or ask for an autograph, but this was when I almost stepped over that line because he was just, oh my God. He doesn't do interviews either. He only agreed to do it because they asked him to. And oh my God, tell me about your writing process.
Great screenwriter.
When a story is done, how do you do this? How do you? And he just
Charlie Kaufman wrote Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, a bunch of
incredible.
Yeah.
I think that same year Michael Shannon was there, and I got to just ask him about how he approaches a role. And,
okay.
Just brilliant.
So would you kind of learn about the industry through this?
An awful lot about how productions work here in Europe, and which is different than they work in other places. And I guess I learned that Europe is interesting because there's an ecosystem for film production. Every country wants to have its own sort of national film. They want Czech film to be known and respected and to be winning awards, and Poland feels the exact same way, and so does Hungary and Budapest. And there are these funds and these film schools, and there's sort of parallel universes. There's the big international productions that come and do their thing, and then there's these European films that are made for maybe 1 million is a typical budget, and perfectly. Some of them are great, all shot on location, and with a handful of actors, and there's this constant. It's basically a assembly line, a machine that constantly needs scripts and stories, and that's funded. It's the state funds film, which is a concept that Americans would make your head explode. You don't need to sell. Take out a second mortgage on your house to make a film. You just apply and
get something from the
German
fund
has a committee.
And even cities will even fund a film just to promote the city. They'll throw money at it. Berlin or something like this. Spain has a huge film industry, and they support.
I think in Bruges got a lot of support from.
I was just about to say that. I was wondering.
That kind of they loved it.
Yeah, they love it because it brings attention.
You wouldn't think, mob killers come to you. Wouldn't think that would, but I guess they loved it.
Yeah, and it's a cult classic. That film everyone knows about it, so everyone knows about Bruges. It's actually pretty smart. I bet they get a lot of tourism.
Absolutely.
So that makes a lot of sense. Everything you're saying.
Yeah.
So how come you haven't made a film yet, Will?
Yeah, come on.
Yes.
The world is waiting.
Well, yeah.
You know how to do it, right? You know how to get the money. You got all the connections.
I feel like I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I got on a kind of a quest to chase down some stolen Nazi loot. I met this guy who was interested in. He discovered that So at the end of World War II, when the Russians came through, they basically stole everything. It was on a scale you wouldn't believe. Their entire factories are being disassembled and shipped back to Russia, and they stole all kinds of priceless art. And among the things they were stealing were Torah scrolls from synagogues, because there were very few Jewish communities left, and all these priceless Torahs were left in burned out synagogues, and they loaded them all on a train and they shipped them all east. And I got involved with this disbarred Florida lawyer who was on a quest to get these Torahs back and rescue them and return them to the Jewish community. And it seemed to me like a really great story. Ed Fagan, amazing character, amazing story. And I followed him around with a camera and shot a lot in Russia and in Florida. Some of my footage was screened in the big temple and he tried to raise funds to get the thing finished.
Did I shoot something? I shot something with this.
Likely I would have been dragged in. Probably at some point. Yeah.
I remember meeting and talking, and I think shooting some stuff together with you and showing up with the cameras. I remember.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
so that became a documentary? I guess I never followed up with you.
Well, so you're looking for your storyline, and I knew I had the great quest, but is he going to get them? Is he going to give up? Neither of those things ever happened, and I got this endless footage of him going around trying to get people interested, and I don't know. I didn't feel like it ever came together. I still have the footage. I'm a better editor now. Probably I know I could make something of it, but I just didn't feel like the story ever really came together.
Yeah, you need an arc.
Yeah, right. I still don't know what they are.
Okay. There was a lot of stuff kind of like that going on there. Yeah. So, but that's more documentary.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you're a writer. You understand the film industry there. You're dialed in. You got all the contacts. Why haven't you written a script? Do you and I need to sit down and write a script that can get funded?
We do.
Let's do it. Good.
Yeah.
I got some ideas. I got some treatments.
I know.
Some stuff kicking on. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll talk.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've had a few ideas, but exactly. Just I don't know. When you're a freelancer, you do a lot of running and hustling and to make sure you pay the rent. What's really nice is it's the first time I've had a salary job in years, and I discovered you actually have more time, which is a surprise. And you have more sanity and more stability.
There's something to be said for the time off is clear.
Yes.
When you're a freelancer, it's
like holiday. Oh my God, what is this? I'm sitting on the beach. I'm getting paid. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
My mind still can't grasp it.
Yeah.
So I think now's the time actually, and I'm in there editing every day as well. It really builds up your storytelling chops. I think.
Right.
I think now's the time.
Yeah, maybe a podcast in your future as well.
That's way too much work.
Tell me about it. Booking the guests is the hardest.
Oh
part.
God, yeah, nightmare.
Yeah. It's not. I don't know where I thought producing a weekly podcast was going to be. Piece of cake.
Oh yeah, no, it seems like it should be simple.
Should be simple. Like, what's the problem? You talk for an hour and then you post it, and boom, Bob's your uncle. There's a whole thing. But now I see you. Yeah, you're doing a clip a day. That's massive. Yeah.
It's a big confidence builder, and it's it kind of expands the mind. Incredible stories.
This is insane. Yeah. No, you've got like at least 3 or 4 different lives running simultaneously.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And you're a husband and a father. How's everybody over there?
Yeah, doing that. Yeah, it's, that's good too, because I think it was what's his name from Big Lebowski. He said if you ever want to really make it as an actor, have a kid. That'll make you get serious and get it done.
Jeff Bridges said that.
Jeff Bridges said that, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. It's a great movie. Yeah. How's Tiffany then? How's everybody?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great. She's living Prague. Yeah.
She's happy with Prague now.
Yeah. It's a learning curve. There's still some. Yeah.
Are you ever coming back to London? Yeah, because you were
Yeah, we're there on a regular basis. You know,
Are you?
still got
Because I never get a call or anything.
Yeah.
I never get any message that says,
Yeah, I
"Hey, I'm in
know.
Todd.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
in
trying.
town."
Yeah, yeah.
Never
You don't
got that.
write. You don't call.
Yeah, I just assumed you weren't coming back, but now I hear that you are coming back
He just
regularly,
hates you. Yeah.
but you're just not interested in.
At this point, I'll drop in for a weekend and be showing Ava around museums pretty much nonstop. And then I'll collapse and then go back to work.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, but
Well, next time you're around, if you're up for
yeah,
it, you know,
yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot or anything.
Are you still in the city, or are you out? Because you were out
No, we're out in the countryside. You come up, visit us. You can hang out.
at the country manor. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
The estate. Yeah.
We're out
The
by
estate.
the estate out here, yeah, in the Grand Union Canal, and yeah,
The stately homes.
proper
Yes.
country living. Yes, like a proper
yeah.
English. I'm a proper English gentleman. Yeah,
Yeah.
living close to the Rothschilds.
Yes.
My
You're
manor.
enjoying the curries any better now?
The which?
You were not a fan of curry.
Oh no, yeah. There's a great.
London
I found a good place, a good Indian with the curries. Yeah, I'm getting. That's when you know you've become English. Is when you start enjoying Indian food.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what's next for Will Tizard, the wizard?
Yeah, just I finally been made permanent at RFE. It was a long process because I was originally the position was in this temporary position.
Right.
I'm learning from amazing colleagues. Really, I feel like I've just now achieved what I've always wanted to do. Basically, I'm working in film in a way, still as a journalist, still storytelling, but mixing the sound, the music, the cuts, producing something, you know, hopefully powerful and that shake people up sometimes. I feel like and I also feel like with acting that I've reached a point where I'm beginning to see how you do this, and I would love to work intensively with a really good mentor and get up to the next level, and see if you can get beyond the few bit parts. And exactly write yourself a part, you know, make something.
Yeah,
it's absolutely doable now.
Yeah,
I think that's what you do if you really want to, you know, wait around to be cast. So you could just, you know how to use a camera and you know how to
create your own.
You know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Stories are there.
Stories
you get
are
great
there,
people to work with you for nothing. You know, it's
with the contacts that between the two of us, the contacts we have. It's incredible, and the ability. Yeah. And you're still going to castings, I guess, regularly. You're still getting called in.
Yeah, they call me. I go in. Yeah.
Picking up bits and things. What was the last thing you did?
I just got a part in Death by Lightning, which is actually would seem to be a pretty sizable production. It's a Netflix 4-part miniseries. It's going to be coming out in, I think, November.
Oh,
yeah, just a walk on.
Cool.
That's
yeah,
great.
it was huge fun. Yeah, shooting in Budapest in the 19th century costumes and
nice.
Love it.
Yeah.
Tell me about Havel before we go.
Mm-hmm.
Václav Havel, the former president, Czech Republic. You met him a couple times.
Yeah. His spirit is still with us. He's still here. Yeah. He's still our icon. Yeah. Yeah, we just had the August 21st was just came by. That was the day the Russian tanks rolled in '68.
That's right.
So there's people still have a lot of respect for Havel. I got to meet him a couple times. Did you ever meet him?
I ran into him once in the park. My dog had a dog, and he had these. He was known for his was it boxers? What kind of dogs did he have?
Yeah,
he had these. And
I didn't know about the boxers.
What kind of dog? I think they were he was known for having boxers, loving boxers.
Did not know that.
Okay. Yeah, and he was walking. I remember my girlfriend at the time. My dog was well trained. He was off the lead, walking next to me, and his dogs. Somebody else was and I don't know. She whispered something. That's Havel. We were up up at the park up there anyway, and he was out from the castle walking his dog. He was the president. And his dogs came shooting across my legs, and I tripping on his dogs. And at the same time, she goes, "That's Havel." And I go, "Well, Havel needs to get his dogs under control." Having not really understood. And my dog kind of run away because he didn't like other crazy dogs, and they were all wanting to sniff him and all this stuff like that. And Havel just kind of looked at me, and I looked at him as I'm untangling my feet from his, and he had his security there and stuff like that.
I bet he looked embarrassed too.
He looked kind of embarrassed, and he looked at me. I looked at him, and I was like, "Oh,
humble, incredible guy." Yeah,
he was very,
yeah,
very cool. And the reason I bring
these little countries.
The thing with Havel, I don't know if Jay probably doesn't know, but Havel was the first president of the new Czech Republic after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1990. Havel had been a playwright.
For 5 years.
He was in prison for 5 years.
Speaking out and writing
he was a playwright and a bit of an actor, known for writing all these kind of dissident plays and things that were sort of covertly anti-communist, anti-Russian, anti-Soviet. So basically, Czechs, they have such a huge theater culture about them that in fact, the first president they elected after the fall of communism was a theater writer.
The playwright president. Yeah. How cool is that?
Pretty cool. And he was a big Rolling Stones fan. I remember Rolling Stones watching the concert when they came to Havel's birthday in Prague, came to perform with him. They all came out all totally hammered.
Yeah, they were equally thrilled to meet each other, I think, Havel and the Stones.
Yeah, he'd been a big Stones fan and stuff. Yeah, all those guys. And so he was a cool guy. But you met him a couple times. You interview him?
I did kind of interview him about about the Sokol. They were trying to bring back the big mass patriotic gymnastics. It's a very Eastern European thing.
Yeah, the Sokol.
He was sort of in favor of that. It was a big communist forced patriotic ritual, and they were trying to make it more of a voluntary thing. And
it was a cultural thing that the Sokols were around. They were just for little kids to go and do gymnastics and other sports and things. They were kind of these gymnasiums basically for little kids to practice Sokol. And there were Sokols. There was one down there in Old Town. Malastrana, there was a Sokol right by the river. But I wanted to give a little props to Havel.
Yeah, our spirit guide. Yeah,
the spirit guide, the theater patron, spirit guide.
Oh, he's quoted in Rent, the musical Rent, in La Vie Boheme. There's a song.
Oh, he'll pop up everywhere now that you know, because if you're a theater person, Havel is kind of the guy.
Václav, right? That's his first name.
Václav Havel. Yeah. Big rummy. I mean, he was a big drinker. But
it's a classic photo of him with a cigarette in one hand, a beer in the other, and his rumpled tie, and his hair's all over. It's that
cool.
That was my president.
Yeah, that's the president. Yeah, he was just like revolution, Prague Spring. Yeah. Will, great to talk to you, buddy.
Oh yeah, great catching up. Yeah, thanks.
That's a way to catch up, huh? Record it. We'll stream it live, record it, post it.
Exactly.
Old friends catching up. Well, don't be a stranger, man.
Thanks for the inspiration, as usual.
Yeah. Let's write something. Get busy.
I like that. That's what I need.
I think so. We'll talk. We'll talk after this.
Okay.
All right. We'll catch up with you soon. Love to everybody. Eva and Tiff, and we'll talk soon, buddy.
Thanks.
There he goes.
Okay.
Will Tizard.
Great to talk.
Ciao. All right. There you go, Jay.
There we go. A lifelong learner. We have interviewed a lifelong learner.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like
Is that
I'm
a
not
thing?
just making that up, right? No, that's like a thing. A lifelong learner. He totally has that personality type, right?
Yeah.
He's always learning.
Yeah, totally. He's curious. He's always been curious, and he's always trying to figure stuff out and learn new things. And that's why a guy like him, he's going to keep going, I kind of feel the same. I don't know about you, but like, for me, there's no such thing as retirement. Like, I'm not looking forward to turning a certain age and then just plunking down somewhere.
Todd, you are never going to retire. I'm sorry. You didn't even need to say that.
No, you're right.
Absolutely. No, I know exactly what you're talking about, Hot Toddy.
Not Hot Toddy. Hot Toddy doesn't retire.
No, and Will's brain is never going to retire. I can tell. Every answer he was like, "Oh, I've learned this. Ooh, this was such it was so cool. It's very refreshing to hear someone that is just always learning.
Yeah,
it's very humbling.
Discovering,
and it's good.
Learning, and interested, and always interested in stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
and looking for inspiration too, which I've always noted about him. I mean, you can see why we became friends. and stayed
I
friends.
wanted to ask him so bad. I wanted to be like, Will, are you also an archivist? But I was like, I didn't. I was like, the conversation never really
never got
got
there.
enough over there for me to say that. But I wanted to, because you two were quite similar. You both are travel writers. You were into Prague related to travel writing.
Yeah.
That's so
Bizarre.
niche. That's so random.
Yeah. I'm more on the actor side, but I did quite a bit of writing, and he's more on the writing side. Did quite a bit of acting. I also worked for the Prague Post.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was freelance for them.
There you go.
I think everybody was at some point.
Everyone was freelance for
if you could string two sentences together.
in English.
Yeah, I wrote a lot of real estate stuff that I wasn't interested in, but that was like some of the stuff I did.
You know what? It kind of fits for you. Also, Todd Kramer, you could put, I guess now I'm calling you by your full name now. You could put your like face up, your headshot up, like in a real estate, like as a real estate agent. You could literally just put it up anywhere, and anyone would believe that you're a real estate agent.
People would believe it. I did.
Yeah. You could just put it up, like put an advertisement up on like the side of a building, just with
like
you
and
and then
then
houses next to it.
With my tie.
You'd get calls.
And going, Kramer Realty, come on down.
Yeah.
You're next. I did a little real estate too. I dabbled in that for a minute.
Of course you did. What have you not done?
I've done it all. Stupid stuff. Stupid.
Good God.
Misspent youth.
What?
Well, I don't know. I stick to something, but yeah, it's good.
Okay. All right. No use beating yourself up over being highly skilled and doing different things. Come on.
You're right. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate you, buddy.
You got to tell that to yourself now.
Gosh darn it. People like me. I do good things.
All right. Not anymore. They don't.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Here we go.
No, anyway.
All right. Now I feel guilt. I'm going to turn my hat around. I don't deserve the hot toddy moniker anymore.
No, we all know everyone stops liking people that say, "Oh my gosh, I love myself," and everyone goes, "Okay, no, you can go die."
Yeah, I'm trying to be humble over here. Christ.
That's the trick. Yeah.
All right. Folks, if you think Todd Kramer's humble enough, please write in, send a comment, post something.
Yes.
But until next time, we just want to say thanks to Will. Thank you, Boy Andy. Thank you, Jay Riam. And thank you, audiences.
And thank you, Hot Toddy.
And thank me for being your host today on the Offstage Acting Podcast. Special times. Keep learning. Get out there and be a lifelong learner.
Yes.
That's the message of today's show. Maybe the title. We'll take care, and we'll see you next time.
Kisses.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I did it, and I was like, well, I'm going to commit, but maybe we don't do that again.
Gotta commit. You gotta commit.
Yeah.
Goodbye, folks. We love you. That was a terrible ending.
I loved it.
That was good.
Of course.
Doesn't matter. Will, did you have fun?
Yeah,
Thanks
that was
for
awesome.
coming on. Learned a lot.
Yeah, thank you.